Welcome back. Sunday morning. Let's get those lineups set. We're going to break down, of course, all of your starts and sit questions, as many as we can get to in a 1 hour and 10-minute period of time. Of course, usual announcement. If you guys have access to our rankings, those are now up to date as of inactive. So if you want to just check our rankings, see who to start and sit, that is who we do, how we do our rankings every single week. So definitely check that out. I accidentally set the stream for 11:45 p.m. That's why Jared's saying live in 12 hours. But Farmer Will was the first one in here. He said, got to start both Edwards and Warren in my flex spots today, thanks to Ayuk and Watson injuries. They did. There was a report today saying that Jalen Warren's going to get more work. Is this the week we finally see the Jalen Warren takeover in the Steelers' backfield? Maybe. Of course, it has to be the week that I'm facing Jalen Warren, which makes a lot of sense. But that'll be interesting. But yeah, also, big shout out if you want to get our rest of season and weekly rankings. Of course, sign up on Underdog using promo code FSE, or check out our site flockfantasy.com, promo code FSE over there as well. So we do have some super chats right off the bat. TB was the first one in here. When you're done with your rankings, Danny, I'll get you to maybe find his question there.
For whatever reason, from my PC, I literally can't even access the rankings themselves. So I'm going to update them. I'll have them in front of me. If you guys have any questions regarding players, like, for example, an AJ Dillon type, he's going to be lower in my rankings right now because I made them with the assumption that Aaron Jones would be playing. So if you have AJ Dillon, for the record, he's like a top 25 to 30-ish level running back for me. Tempering expectations a little bit, but I mean, if he gets the workload, he should still be able to pull off at least an RB3, RB2 level day.
Yeah, mine are up to date. So if you guys have access to our rankings, you can always just go off of mine for players like that. So JTO7 Pack says, full PPR, are we flexing Hall, Swift, or Addison? So given the risk level with Hall, I'd probably steer clear of him. It would be between Swift and Addison for me. Riskiness level of Swift is also up in the air because Gainwell should be back this week. I personally would still go with Swift, but Addison's got the game environment that you absolutely want to see. 54 point over under. The over is catching a lot of the steam right now. I don't know. Do you have a strong take on this one? I think you probably go Addison here, but I actually think I would probably go with Swift.
Yeah, for me, it's Addison simply because I don't know what that split's going to look like for the Eagles. And I've been very optimistic about these things in the past. Like, surely, the Eagles just see DeAndre Swift, completely dominate on Thursday Night Football and his RB1 role is ready to go. But I mean, assuming rational coaching sometimes is just not the thing in fantasy. Like, we see this week over week over week where we think one thing's going to happen because somebody's a clearly more talented player, and then that just ends up not materializing. For with Swift, I don't mind raising him as a top 15 running back moving forward if I see that he can usurp Kenneth Gainwell, because Thursday Night Football, don't get me wrong, he looked good. I already knew he was a talented player. I already knew he had that 3-down level skill set, but he showcased that without Kenneth Gainwell in the lineup. If he does it again this week against Tampa Bay, tough, environment, Monday Night Football, 2-0 Bucks team, he's able to get the majority role for the Eagles, I have no problem ranking him as my RB13, RB14, RB15 plus every single week.
Yeah, and during my running back rankings tier list video, a lot of people were like, how do you not have Kyron Williams higher? How do you not have Zach Moss higher because of their workloads and stuff? And Swift too. Like, I would say the danger of like a 1 week sample size, which, Kyron Williams in that 1 week, 97% of the snaps, awesome workload. Zach Moss, pretty much all the snaps for the Colts. DeAndre Swift, most of the snaps for the Philadelphia Eagles. Unless it's like, Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs, guys that we have a long track record of them getting all of the work for their respective backfields, I'm not really ready to just project that Kyron Williams will be a 97% snap share guy each and every week. I want to see what it looks like now that Akers is out of the fold and maybe Ronnie Rivers is mixed in more. Maybe Zach Evans is active today. I'm not exactly sure if he is. I didn't actually look at that. I guess they play on Monday, so it doesn't matter. But that's something that I want to keep in mind when it comes to small sample sizes and when it comes to just projecting these workloads going forward. Because if I knew Kyron Williams was going to get a 97% snap share each and every week and he would hold up to that workload, the guy's literally going to be a top 5 running back this year. That's 100% going to be a fact. But he's a smaller running back. They're probably going to mix in more guys. So right now I'm kind of ranking them a little conservatively and tempering expectations. But if this continues, obviously, then I'll rank them more aggressively.
The thing with a guy like Kyron Williams and why he's actually ranked as my RB12, I believe I have Matt this week, is simply due to the fact that right now I know he has the workload. The problem with these type of players, right, is he's been an inefficient rusher. You look at rush yards over expectation, yards per carry, ability to make guys miss. I mean, he's a slower, smaller running back with that big 3-down role. The problem that I have with Kyron is that he's not, guaranteed to have this role for the long term of the season. Like, is Ronnie Rivers going to get mixed in? Is a guy like Zach Evans going to get mixed in? Kyron Williams has looked good so far based off the role that he's projected into, but it's because of the role he's projected into. Let's not get it twisted. Like, the Rams have looked good on offense. McVay, obviously, in the past, I mean, we saw with Cam Akers, we saw obviously with Todd Gurley when he was in his prime, when he met, the opportunity with the talent level, that he can make fantasy fucking darlings out of these running backs. So Kyron Williams, like, I'm not convinced yet he's a great player, but because of the short-term workload, I think you have to pretty much consider him a top 12-ish level back. And if
I'm at 13 for what it's worth. So I still think that's me ranking him conservatively, because if I project the workload he's going to get this week, guaranteed that he got last week, then I would probably have him in my top 5.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's kind of where I'm at as well. I'm not fully convinced yet because of the talent level, which is why I can't rank him higher than 12. But similar to DeAndre Swift, if DeAndre Swift needs the workload, Kyron Williams kind of needs to prove that he's the talent that can command that workload moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to some of the supers here, we got our gravy, bad weather in New York, half PPR, start Hall or Wilson. So I mean, bad weather is going to lend itself more to the running back position than it is to the wide receiver position. This is already a very difficult matchup for Garrett Wilson. We know the age-old jargon of the New England Patriots, take away your number one weapon, which is very clearly Garrett Wilson in the New York Jets offense. I tend to lean, because the weather is going to be a factor in that game. The over-under is like 35 points to begin with. And the steam's on the under right now, probably due to the weather. I tend to actually lean towards Hall in this decision, but it's close, because Wilson is generally speaking the safer projection, but with the added context of the weather and the Patriots defense, I probably go with Hall there. I don't know if you have any different take.
Yeah, I mean, in a half PPR already lends itself to running back with the weather. Again, I haven't really seen the forecast. Is it projected to be like legitimately bad weather there?
It's supposed to be like
it's the Bills game, the Jets game, and the Giants game,
and
right?
rain is what we're expecting out of the Jets and Patriots game this week.
Sorry, not Giants. Giants already played, but there was a third game affected by it.
Yeah, I think there's supposed to be some weather conditions in
Washington, Buffalo, New England versus
maybe it's the Steelers game. I can't remember. One of them is going to have weather.
One of them, yeah. I mean, you.
I can take a look just to make sure, but
sorry, go ahead. Half PPR start to Nico, Kirk, Wilson, Connor, Judy. So right off the bat, if I'm looking at this, Connor and Kirk aren't in consideration for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wilson would easily be one of them if the weather wasn't a concern.
Nico's the one.
I still think I would put him in my lineup, personally. The question is probably between I actually have Nico, Judy, and Kirk like very closely ranked this week, all three of them. I'm going to actually look who I have the highest, because that's actually a really difficult discussion for me. I actually have Kirk the highest, because the Texans corners are all hurt right now, like all of them. And the game environment of that game too it's a 44-point over under. Like more than any other game on the slate, the steam is on the over in that game. And I think because the Texans have so many injuries, I think the Jags can actually get some work done through the passing game. So I actually really like Kirk and Wilson there.
I like the flip side of the matchup. I would go with Nico and Wilson.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a tough question though. Like I literally have Kirk at 31. I have where's Nico? Nico at 32 and Judy at 33. Like they're literally back to back in my rankings.
And then for me right now, obviously, if you want to drop drop Wilson a little bit more because of the weather, I have Wilson at 21, Nico at 24. Kirk is 33, but he would raise higher realistically now with the news that Zay Jones is out. And Judy's 32. So realistically, Kirk would be above Judy for me. So if I'm imagining it right now, he would hop London, he would hop Hopkins, he would hop DJ Moore, and probably Pickens. So if I were to do my rankings right now, Christian Kirk with the news that Zay Jones is going to be out would probably be about my wide receiver 28.
Yeah, I think he's got to move up the board a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move him ahead of DJ Moore as well, because I think I'm a little nervous about that whole situation there.
So sorry, real quick. So I see TB posted a super sticker 1142, and he also said in another super chat that my question's above first time with the super chat. So we can get right to it, because I'm assuming he probably did the super sticker with the super chat. So it's probably going to be high up. So if you can find it, that would actually be beautiful.
Okay, yeah, I'll look for that. Go to Paul's question in the meantime, and then when I find it, I'll pull it up.
Okay. Now where is Paul's question?
Okay, I got TB's here. So he says, "Hey guys, half PPR, 2 quarterbacks, 6 flex. Who would you swap? Currently starting Kenneth Walker, Kyron Williams, Mostert, Higgins, Nakua, St. Brown, bench, Mixon, Pacheco." Okay, so Mixon is probably going to need to be in my lineup of this group. I think I have Mixon ranked over both Kyron and Mostert. And Nakua as well in terms of like overall flex rankings, actually, and Walker too. So I don't know which guy are you sitting of that group, because I think Mixon has to be in your lineup, assuming that Burrow is going to play, which I think it sounds like he's going to. The report is that like he's going to play through pain, and Joe Burrow's a tough SOB. I think he's just going to do it.
Yeah, I mean Mixon's got to be in, like you said. You probably
Who do
put
you sit
Mixon
though?
in.
Is the question.
You probably put Mixon in for probably his teammate. Actually, he's your
No,
wide
there's no
receiver.
way I'm sitting Higgins in this group. He's like he's one of the highest up for me. I would debate
Walker?
sitting Kyron or Nakua. It's one of the Rams for me. Is probably that who I'm sitting.
There's no way you have Higgins ranked higher than Nakua if he plays.
Yeah, I do. If Burrow's playing, I have
I'll
Higgins
bet you
ranked.
that right now. Full PPR.
You want to? Well, this is a half PPR question, so
Sure, we'll do half PPR.
yeah, it's not a big difference. I have him at 13 and Nakua at 14, but Nakua is dealing with a bit of an injury. He's a little banged up, so that's kind of just like the little tiebreaker there. For me, I would sit Nakua and play Mixon probably.
I can't do that. I mean, to be fair, all these guys play at the same time, so literally just wait. If Nakua's dealing with an injury,
because if Burrow isn't playing, who are you sitting of the Bengals? Are you going to sit Higgins or are you going to sit Mixon?
Higgins.
Really? Because I think Higgins is a much better player. So even if Jake
He
Brown
is a much better player,
I would rather sit Mixon. I think Burrow being out hurts Mixon more than it hurts Higgins, in my opinion.
Hurts both of them really badly.
It does, but it hurts. I think it actually hurts Mixon more.
Really? I think
Mixon isn't good enough to do anything on his own.
And I agree, but at the same time, do we really expect Jake Browning to support both Chase and Higgins in a matchup?
Right, but if they can't move the offense, then what's Mixon's?
If they can't move the offense, then how are the wide receivers going to get peppered?
Well, he'll get targets here and there.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. He'll have like 7 targets, 3 catches for like 51 yards.
I know it sucks. So I would personally sit Mixon in that situation though. Anyways,
half PPR,
huh?
And a half PPR as well.
Yeah, I would, dude. Joe Mixon can't produce with Joe Burrow playing well. Like, what do we expect him to do if Burrow's not even out there?
Fair. The Nakua one though, I can't get on board. I think Nakua.
Well, no, if Burrow's not playing, I would play Nakua over both of them.
Yeah, fair enough. Where's the Paul? Jerome Ford, James Conner, or Tutu Atwell at flex full PPR. I'm going with Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I would go with Jerome Ford as well. I actually think I have him and Connor rated like very closely, but given the I love James Conner's workload, but I am scared shitless of the Cowboys front for running backs. They've been, not only have they been the best run defense in the league, it hasn't even been close. Like the way that they've shut down the Jets running game and the Giants running game in the first 2 games of the season, like specifically against running backs, they have literally been nails. And James Conner, their game plan, Arizona's game plan, if I was the coaching staff, we're not going to be able to throw on this defense. We're going to have to try and establish the run game because we're Arizona and we have Josh Dobbs as our quarterback. And then once that gets shut down, they're just going to abandon the run game because they're probably going to get boat raced on the other side of the ball.
I already see the script right now for James Conner. He'll get 17 carries for 42 yards and 2 catches for 11 yards.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, Danny? Let's just get right into your lock of the week because we're literally already talking about this game. You all knew this was coming, right? Like, all knew that Danny's lock of the week would be the Arizona Cardinals giving 13 points to the Cowboys, and Danny's still taking Dallas. And for what it's worth, I actually placed some money on this, that the Cowboys would cover the spread.
I mean, we like to galaxy brain all the time. Like, oh, what's the point total? Ooh, like what's a nice leverage line? Should I go, arbitrage my bet? I don't give a shit in this instance. The Cowboys are a much better football team than the Arizona Cardinals. The Cowboys are arguably the best football team in the NFL right now. And realistically, from a matchup perspective, from a personnel perspective, tell me how they're moving the ball against Dallas. Just tell me. Like, how? Like, how are
they're
they
not? And it's in Arizona, but that ain't a far trip for Cowboys fans to make. That building will be blue. We saw what it looks like with the Cardinals and last week. Who did they play last week? I can't remember who it was.
Giants.
Yeah, the Giants fans took over that stadium, and it's probably going to be the same again this week. The Cardinals are invested in the tank. They just put their best fucking defensive player on IR, and the team's just in shambles right now. So yeah, that's an easy one. My lock of the week is, I actually made reference to it already as well. Houston and Jacksonville, 43.5 points is the over under right now. I think they're going over. The pace of play in that game is supposed to be pretty strong. In terms of both offenses running up tempo, CJ Stroud has looked good enough to move the ball. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will be able to do damage against the depleted Houston Texans secondary. So I really like that game to go over. I mean, 43.5 points is not a huge point total. So I think they can cover that easily. And Spicy Hot sticking with his old Vegas Raiders here, going under in the Vegas and Pittsburgh game. Also, a bet I laid personal cash on. I took, so what I did, maybe I'll show this at the end of the stream. I took every single game that's happening today and I picked something that I liked about it. So whether it was like the spread or the over under or something like that, and I did I just put $10 on each game, whatever bet it was, and then at the end I put $5 on all of it hitting, just in case, because you gotta in case you go 13-0 in those picks or whatever, you gotta have like a $40,000 payout or whatever. So
yours was like 77. No, that was the touchdown bet.
that was the touchdown. Yeah, I also FanDuel Sportsbook gave me a bonus. So I just threw all of the bonus on the $10 that they gave me on like 7 random people to score a touchdown, like Pitts, Samaje Perine, Josh Allen rushing, Evan Ingram, Zay Flowers, Kendrick Bourne, and Taysom Hill is what I put it down on. And it pays out $77,875 if it hits. So we'll take those. But yeah, it'll be fun.
That's massive. Deuce or Rico as backup to Tony? I think right now Rico's got to be considered the clear cut in our RB2 for the Cowboys based off usage, based off, when Tony needs a rest. Rico Dowdle's been the guy coming in. I will say, though, if you have to choose one to stash in fantasy, it becomes a little bit closer because I think Rico, like if something were to happen to Tony in the intermediate future, would probably give you, an RB2, RB3 level baseline. But I do think that Deuce has more upside, especially in PPR formats. Like if an injury were to happen week 10, week 11, week 12, Deuce could be like a league winner down the stretch.
He could. And I also think from like a best ball standpoint, I loved him in best ball because I think he has a standalone role in the offense, whether Tony's healthy or not. And if Pollard, sacrifices some of that receiving work that he took a lot of when Zeke was the main running back, that probably goes to Deuce Vaughn, assuming Pollard stays healthy, because sans a Pollard injury, I don't think Rico Dowdle will be relevant at all.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, so far to start the year, it's also been the game scripts because the Cowboys have just been boat racing everybody. But
well, it's probably not going to be all that different this week. So
probably not. But I mean, like once you get into like the 49ers, the Chargers, like there's a stretch of schedule where the Cowboys have where their first 4 games are literally New York Giants, New York Jets, Arizona Cardinals, New England Patriots. The 4 following that are the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Los Angeles Rams, and then the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going to see a lot more close game scripts for the Cowboys coming up.
Yeah, I'm really sad that Amir decided to sit James Conner for Jaylen Warren. I personally would still probably have I don't think I'd have the balls to do it.
I have Warren higher.
You have Warren higher.
Higher.
I might have to move Warren up my ranking. Somebody called me a cuck for having Najee Harris ranked higher than Warren. He's like, if you're saying Warren's better, why don't you have Warren higher? And I was like,
I have Warren way higher
than Najee.
Way higher.
Maybe I'm being a bitch. Am I being a bitch right now by having Najee ranked too high?
Well, I did my RB trade target, so like, let me see here.
You know what? I'm gonna stop being an absolute cuck, and I'm gonna put Warren over Najee, and I'm gonna move Najee down.
Okay, so far this year, Jaylen Warren has 42% of the snaps, 31% of the rushing attempts, and 41% of the routes. However, we saw in week 2, his route participation went up from 35% in week 1 to 47% in week 2, and his long down and distance percentage went up from 57% to 92%. Meaning that he's used in receiving situations now. He had 4 catches, 66 yards, looked much better in space, obviously, than Najee Harris did. And if that keeps going closer to 50-50, like we're talking about, he got 44% of the snaps in week 2, 92%, of course, in long down and distance, like I said. If that even gets even closer and it becomes like a 50-50 with him getting all those third down, receiving type of snaps, I think Jaylen Warren could be like a top 24 running back that nobody's talking about.
Can we not though? Can we wait a week? Like when I don't play against him, because I need to win this week. So that would really annoy me if that's what happens. And I know it's going to happen now. Like Jaylen Warren, anytime touchdown. I don't know what the odds are on it, but it's probably a nice bet to make. And we also had the report too that Warren is going to get more work. I think Rappaport or Schefter or somebody came out and said that today. Or it was Garofolo, I think, who's actually said it. But
yeah, let me just make sure I have him in my lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Javonte, Pacheco, Kelly, Swift, and Dylan pick 3. So Javonte and Kelly are probably locks for me there. And Swift is probably the other guy that I'm going with.
Yeah.
Dylan, not quite up to that level, I don't think. I think Dylan's a fine like back end RB2, high end RB3 this week. But it is a really tough matchup against New Orleans. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that actually is the game that was the other weather impacted game was Packers and Saints.
It probably was. Yeah, it probably was.
I think it's in Green Bay. So
Yeah, I think so.
It is in Green Bay. Yeah, that was the other game that has like winds and potential precipitation. That one. So
Next question: John Dotson or Gus Edwards for flex full PPR? Sorry. Ugh. I would go
Edwards
Jahan
and
Dotson.
Dotson flex full PPR. I will read the question while you recover here. We got I personally would go with Dotson. I think the Commanders this week are going to have to throw the ball. I actually kind of like the over in that game too. It's not expected to be a super high scoring game, but I think that the Bills are a pretty strong like first half offense to the point that they could get up early. And Howell's also looked a little rougher in the first half than he has in the second in each game so far this season. So I actually don't mind Jahan Dotson as a guy just and full PPR. I mean, Gus Edwards is like a 0 in full PPR pretty much.
Yeah.
And Jahan Dotson's a receiver. So
yep. Appreciate the super chat there. Nemesis, the next one from Danny. He says, fellas, need advice on what might be a hard question. Which way do I go? Burrow knowing the risk, love playing the Saints, or falling back with Baker? I personally don't view much of a difference between Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield for me. So personally, I'm taking the risk on Burrow.
I would rather start Baker than Love this week. Dead ass.
Yeah. I actually do think I have Baker higher. Let me take a look. If not higher, they're literally like back to back for me.
Yeah, I mean, game environment wise,
yeah.
like you would prefer Baker to Jordan Love.
You're looking at quarterback 20 versus quarterback 23 in my rankings.
I have him 19 and 21, and Daniel Jones is locked in as my 20 from Thursday night. So
Daniel Jones, I had locked in at 17. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, not great, Bob. But yeah, I also another update on Burrow. Through the walkthroughs and the stuff preparing for the game, Jake Browning took 0 first-team reps the whole time. And if they were worried about Burrow missing the game, then he would probably be given some first-team reps here and there. So it sounds to me like Burrow's just going to play through this. Yeah. So if you guys have Burrow, I would probably just roll with him.
For sure. Let's try to get to as many comments as possible right now just to make sure we're not like 12, 20 last comment when the stream ends. So
I'd be shocked if we aren't, to be honest, but we'll do our best here.
Better quarterback stash having Fields, Wilson, or Geno. If you're content on having one of these quarterbacks, I would go with Geno, but realistically, I would just run with Fields and just stream matchups if you have to.
Yeah, I think maybe just look. There's no real huge difference between those two guys. Maybe look ahead to who has like better matchups when Fields has bad matchups, maybe, and then use that as your tiebreaker. Because I think there's not really a huge difference between Wilson or Geno. I think Wilson probably has more upside because of the way he's playing. He's playing a little bit better than Geno's playing right now, and I think the Seahawks are a little bit more run heavy than the Broncos at the moment. So that's not a bad tiebreaker. I'd probably go Russ.
Yeah. By the way, I have to get to this real quick because I thought this was funny, but yes, sir's talking to you. Stop cucking because Najee's a good locker room guy.
I'm not even sure that's true, by the way. Like, I don't even get the sense that he is.
Watch him just be an asshole and also a terrible football player.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of funny in interviews and shit, but like I could see him also like being kind of butthurt that he's losing work to Jalen Warren. Like that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, just earn your work. Don't fucking suck at your job, and maybe that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, literally.
Full PPR 12. Nan, need help, lads. Starting Bijan and B-Rob, Connor in the flex. Benches Zach Moss, forward, Najee, and Algier. Pitts or Henry for tight end. Thoughts? Appreciate you, lads. So first of all, I would go with Pitts over Henry. And second of all, I would actually bench James Conner for literally like easily the first two backs and Algier.
Yeah, Connor's gotta be out there. I would play Algier over Ford and Najee, which is
he's got Bijan, so I probably would
RB2 for. But you're already starting Bijan. Do you want?
So I would go Ford.
Ford, yeah. I think that's a decent time. I honestly don't think it's outrageous to start both Bijan and Algier this week. If you guys have both of them, like they are in a very, very good spot. The Lions are 31st in rush defense DVOA versus the running back position.
And I get it, but Bush, we just started. We were just calling you a cuck for having Najee over Warren. Now you're advocating for starting your backup running back when you have Bijan. What are you doing today?
It's like the only backfield in the league that you can actually reasonably do this for. I think
brother loves the double condom.
Yeah.
I'm joking. The next question from Jack. Need to PPR. Oh, by the way, for the record, so I would go with Ford there, and
I would go with Pitts as my tight end there. I don't like the weather situation in New England, so I probably use that as a tiebreaker. Plus, I think Pitts could get right in this game.
Agreed. Jack, appreciate that. He says pick 2 PPR, JSN, Kendra, Algier. Injuries killed me. I'm probably going with the 2 running backs here.
Yeah, I'm going to sit JSN. He's got a brutal slot matchup this week.
And DK's active.
And DK's playing, yeah. So I probably JSN is going to be a little bit more of a slow burn this season. I think some people expected him to just come out gangbusters. If he has another down week this week, though, he absolutely will be featured in the wide receiver trade targets because I think he's a great source of upside late in the year that you can probably get for a discount after, especially if like Puka Nacua has another good game and like Addison scores another touchdown. You're going to be like, JSN's like a bust. He's not scoring like these other rookies are. But yeah.
PPR, Mostert, Kelly, Ford, Moss, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore for my second flex. So you can only start one of these guys. That's actually a pretty loaded squad. Mostert over Kelly for you, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mostert over Kelly for sure. I
think they're back to back.
I can just go right into why I have Mostert over Kelly because he's literally my going nuts pick of the week. I think that Raheem Mostert is in a spot now with Jalen Waddle out of the game that they might actually have to rely on the run a little bit more than usual. And knowing that this game projects to be really, really high scoring, it's like a 47.5 point over under. Steam's been on the over all week long. So I like Raheem Mostert here to have like a monster performance. I know Salvin Ahmed is also out for this game, and Devon Achane maybe works in a little bit more, but Mostert's been like a 72-73% snap share guy the first 2 weeks of the season. So again, if you guys are new around here, the way Going Nuts works is on a scale of how many onions I'm hanging with this pick. You guys give me 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. The way I get the points from it is if Raheem Mostert goes for 20 plus PPR points, and you guys said it was a 2-pointer, as in like it was like a medium risk type of pick, then I would get 2 points if it happens. I get nothing, obviously, if it doesn't happen. But 1-pointers, like your guys that are a lock to do that. 2-pointers, medium, and then 3-pointers, I'm hanging onions. So let me know in the comments. Just drop it in the comments what you guys think of that.
Shit, I pressed the wrong button. I was gonna show something else, and I showed literally our bet. So hopefully you guys didn't see that. Like Corey said, leave in the comments what you think that's worth, 1, 2, or 3 points. Raheem Mostert, if I had to give that myself, I'd probably have it at about the 2 mark because it's relatively out there. Still top 15 running back for me, but it's not like a Bijan Robinson going for
So who do you got this week? And I'm glad you picked this guy because he's on my team and I'm playing against Warren.
So my going nuts pick of the week is actually going to be Mike Williams of the Los Angeles Chargers. Goes up against the Minnesota Vikings this week. Highest implied over-under of the entire slate at 54.5 points. Obviously, we know this Chargers offense can win either way. They showed in week 1 that they can win by running the ball. They showed in week 2 that they can win by passing the ball over expectation. I think depending on what look Minnesota gives them, whether they sell out to stop the run or sell out to stop the pass, the Chargers offense can be able to move the ball down the field efficiently. And big Mike Williams, the big play threat, outside X wide receiver, I think he comes down with a touchdown or 2 this week.
Yeah, Spicy's saying that I got a couple 3s and a couple 2s.
Wow.
So, Spicy, make the call here. You're the one monitoring the chat. What's one's more common? Like, is there more 3s or more 2s? And then also let Danny know as well what he's thinking. He said it's even by the looks of it. So let's I'm down, but I'll be good to the contest here. I'll give myself a 2-pointer. I think I would give myself a 2-pointer. So we'll use that as he's saying more 3s. Okay.
Wow. So what do you guys give Mike Williams?
Let Danny know what you think of the Mike Williams pick. And I mean, Spicy Hots is Josh Downs, which is probably it should be worth 5 points. I think legitimately.
You guys are psychopaths. How is Raheem Mostert 2 and Mike Williams 3? Like we gotta get a judge on this.
You picked a guy who's in a 54.5 point over/under game.
Okay, but Raheem Mostert scored 28 points last week.
Yeah, true.
What are we doing?
Also, we don't even need to ask the chat what they think of Josh Downs. That is a 3-pointer right there for Spicy Hot.
I'm baffled at Raheem Mostert getting 3 and Mike Williams getting 2.
The people have spoken, my friend.
Come on, man.
Can't be hating.
Everybody's saying 2 now.
Yeah. All right. What do we got? What's next here? We got Nightmare. We already get to that one. We get to this one?
Here. By the way, we are not only hanging the super chats right now. We're just getting really slow right now answering every question. So we'll try to get to as many as possible going forward. But
R. Says full PPR pick 1, Kelly, Madison, Swift, or Dylan. I'm going Kelly there.
Yeah. I agree with you there, and I mean, we can wait to the next segment because I want to answer.
No,
first. But half PPR, please choose one. Terry McLaurin, 50% chance winning. Drake London, Jaden Reed. Who's the upside play? I would honestly probably go with Drake London, given the fact that the weather's impacting the Washington game.
Yeah, I that sucks for me, dude, because I have Allen and Diggs. I'm getting cucked by the weather. But hey, Jets and Patriots, a weather game. I have both Ramondre Stevenson and Breece Hall, so I will take the early the groundwork for the 2 running backs there. Javon says pick 2: Mike Thomas, Sky, and Njoku, Bourne, Curtis Samuel, Allen Robinson. Oh, you're down pretty bad right now. The guys that you name at the end are the 2 I'm going with though. Jalen Warren and Isaiah Pacheco would be my pick there.
Yeah, I probably would go the same. Yep, I
Yeah,
would.
like I mean, Robert Woods is an okay play. He'd probably be my 3rd ranked highest guy there, but I think I'm going Warren and Pacheco there.
Yeah, I agree. So let's
Carlos says
Aaron.
PPR start Brees, B Rob, Sanders, or Warren. I have Brees Hall rated the highest out of
B
these
Rob.
guys. Do you have Brian Robinson higher?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's close. It really all depends, Carlos. If you are an underdog this week and you need like an upside play, I think Brees is probably the guy. Or if you're just like, projected to win and you want a guy that's a little bit more stable, I think Brian Robinson's your guy there, but they're really close for me. In my running back tier list video, I made a little bit of adjustments. Like I moved Josh Kelly up. I moved Rashad White down a little bit. I moved somebody over Pacheco, or sorry, I moved Brian Robinson up a little bit because I had him a little lower as well. So him and Brees are like really, really neck and neck. It really all depends what you need.
Yep. Sorry.
Tank Dell or Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then Freiermuth or Ferguson. So I would go Freiermuth in the tight end discussion because they're playing the Raiders. Like if you can't start Freiermuth this week, like you can never start Freiermuth. I'd probably go with him there. And then with the Dell or JS, and I think I'm going to go with Tank Dell there, to be honest.
Yeah, as gross as it sounds, like they're both relatively, even bets, wide receiver 40 to 50 range. It's probably Tank Dell. Yeah.
Probably is.
That was gross. Hector says pick 2: Madison, Gus Edwards, Godwin, half PPR. You're sitting Gus Edwards here.
Yep, definitely.
Jeremy Wong says London, Brees, or Garrett Wilson in the flex. I mean, if it's full PPR, I still can't. Like if it's half PPR, that's when I said, okay, maybe you want to put Brees over Garrett Wilson.
I think I'm still going Wilson as well.
In a full PPR, I think you have to. I'm assuming
if we get really bad updates that like that game is going to be a train wreck. Like if you do some research on the weather, if it's going to be a complete slot fest, then I don't mind just pivoting to London and avoiding that game altogether also.
Yep. Full PPR Pitts or Kincaid this week. Give me Kyle Pitts there. Him. I'm assuming you agree.
I'm assuming he's him also.
He is him. Scott says, I agree about Jalen Warren, but do I start him over London this week in a PPR? In a PPR, I can't do that. So.
No, not in PPR. And maybe in a standard.
I will say, after this week, if Jalen Warren does get a majority role, like he's going to be a top 20 rack for me.
He's going to be a fucking mainstay in the top 24 for sure. And he might be, if we do another like rest of season rankings or players rising up the rankings or whatever,
skyrocketing,
Jalen Warren is going to be on the rise for sure. And also too, our rest of season rankings are live and we will update those every week. So if you guys do want access to them, we won't be dropping a video every single week with updates to our rest of season rankings, but we will be physically updating them. So if you want access to those, of course, check out the site and check out Underdog Fantasy as well.
This is Kendre Miller, no debate here. I think, Michael. I don't know why Braxton Barris is in the question, but I do respect him getting
because Waddle's out probably would be the reason.
I respect him getting some love, but he's not coming anywhere close to Kendre.
True.
Start 2 full PPR: Dawson, Tank, Robert Woods, Hunter Henry, Sky Moore. Robert Woods is Jahan Dotson are my 2.
Yeah, I think I go Dotson, and I think I want to go Tank over Robert Woods.
You want to, but Robert
receiver. I know. It's like Robert Woods is
he's getting the snaps,
bros.
Oh,
there goes Danny's camera. Anyways, the analytics bros love Robert Woods on the like over 4 receptions. Like a lot of his player props are listed right now. But I think I would go with Tank Dell personally. I like the upside there in that game environment. So actually not the worst thing in the world that Danny's camera died because I can just rip through here. Even with the questionable status removed, I'm still concerned about Amon-Ra's reps in games. I would take 60% of the snaps of Amon-Ra over a full game workload of Gus Edwards. So I don't really care about his snaps, to be honest. Should I trust Dalvin Cook on a rainy Sunday? I mean, you should never trust Dalvin Cook when it's clear skies, to be honest. So I would not play him at all. No, like Dalvin Cook, like some people were like, where's Dalvin Cook in your top 36 running back rankings? I'm like, in the 40s where he belongs. Like, I don't know. He's not a good running back anymore. He had like a 30 PFF grade last week and he had a brutal fumble. And I wouldn't be shocked if he gets less and less work this week and going forward. Carl, give a $2 super sticker. When Danny gets back, I'll have him locate that super chat, or maybe Spicy can do it for me right now. But we'll get you that question answered, Carl. Bernard says Nico Collins or Jalen Warren for flex PPR. I would take Nico Collins in PPR there, Bernard. Marvin says 14 first. No, okay, hold on. 14 team, so maybe super flex is what he's trying to say. 2024 first dubs. Dalvin Cook, Penny for Chase Stafford, a projected top 3 first, his own pick. Traded him Stafford week 1 for. Okay, so I think he's just talking about some trades here, but regardless, that's a good price to pay for Chase, especially if you're getting your own, like a high first back in return there. Maybe Carl this might be the question that Carl had. It looks like it is. Spicy's giving me a thumbs up. Fellas, it's been a while, and a serious pickle. Love some serious pickles without Chubb, Zeke, or Roshan. So I would say that's not really a pickle at all. That's Roshan by a country mile.
Yeah, Roshan not close there.
Benjamin says half PPR need 3: Hall, Javonte, Godwin, Pittman, Addison, Algier, Gabe Davis, Gainwell. So unfortunately for you, Benjamin, your running backs that you just named are in rapid succession in my rankings. Hall, Javonte, Algier, and Hall, Javonte, and Algier are literally back to back to back in my rankings.
You have Javonte
Godwin,
that low?
Huh? No, I have
Javonte
Algier that high, actually.
Where do you have Javonte ranked?
I have Javonte at 18.
He's 15 for me.
I have an 18, Brees Hall at 19, and Algier at 20. Like I just have them ranked super high, basically. But for me, I would go in a half PPR. I think I go Hall, Javonte, and dude, this is brutal. Between the receivers, who do you like the most out of Godwin, Pittman, and Addison?
I think I have Pittman the highest. I have Pittman 22, Godwin 25.
I think you have to leave Addison on the bench just because he's been a product of big plays so far, and it's not as predictive. But I mean, in a half PPR, you're kind of looking for that element. So I would say like the upside lineup, if you're going for like you're an underdog, I would go Hall, Javonte, Addison. But if you want to go a little bit safer, then you could go Javonte, Pittman, and Addison, or Javonte, Godwin, and Pittman, or something like that.
Real question. I was laughing when I was fixing my camera because I heard you. You're like, can you trust Dalvin Cook on a rainy Sunday? You can never trust Dalvin Cook.
You can never trust Dalvin Cook. But also, Benjamin, if I were you, I would consolidate some of these assets because you're going to have the same headache week over week. If you can trade, let's say Javonte has a big breakout game this week, and you can trade Javonte and Godwin and go up and get like Jahmyr Gibbs or something, like I would probably be looking to do something like that because you're gonna have a headache every single week.
Real quick, Ron actually asked, should we go with Burrow or Russ Wilson in our FFPC league? Because we don't have an option to just go after Stafford or anything like that, and our main quarterback that would probably start would
you
be
fuckers never listen to me. I'm trusting Burrow. I don't give a fuck. I'm playing Burrow. Like, you guys wanted to drop half of our fab budget on Justice Hill, and I was totally against that. I am playing Joe Burrow here. I don't care.
I wasn't advocating for it. I just said, I don't know how the fab system works here. If you think that's the better play, go for it.
We will pick up Jake Browning if we're fucked. Maybe Baker's available on waivers. Who knows?
He's not.
He probably won't be.
20-round draft, bro.
It's a deep bench, but I would just pick up Jake Browning if we're fucked. Like, I want to play Burrow. We have too much riding on this Bengals offense to not play Burrow.
Fair.
We have Chase and Higgins. You know what I mean?
That is true, actually. Yeah. Fuck it. We ball.
That would be
we ball. Choice. We ball just like Christian.
We ball. Fuck it. We ball. We're going down trusting Joe Burrow if we're going down.
Yep. Where did we leave off is the question right here?
I believe it was Gerald here.
Oh, Gerald.
Yeah. Okay. We're just.
You go.
You click it. There we go.
Start who? Warren, Ford, Roshan, or Kendre? Ford for me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with.
You got
Warren and Ford is close now for me after these recent reports. I think I would go Ford still though.
I have Ford like high in my rankings. That's why.
I would not be shocked if Warren has a top 10 week this week though. Like
I would not either.
Like the Raiders. Sorry, Spicy. They fucking stink. They are bad.
Look at him in the background. He loves.
He's saying that's good because he wants a quarterback.
He wants Caleb to it. So. Hey, Caleb, 15 touchdowns, 0 picks so far.
Hey, you guys won't be bad enough to get Caleb, but my boy Quinn had another good game last night.
JJ McCarthy, baby.
Drake May absolutely scorched yesterday too, and he looked really, really good doing it.
Dude, I almost called the Notre Dame upset. I almost did, and then
you almost did. Last second, we did not get a Notre Dame upset. But,
did you see how bad they choked down the stretch?
They choked. They choked hard. Yep.
Gabe Davis or Rashad White? I gotta go with Rashad White, and I have him lower. But
Last thing I will say about college football: Jatavian Sanders had like 130 yards again. It's like the third time he's done that.
Dude, Colston Loveland, little shout out, 5 catches, 75 yards, looking like the next Luke Schoonmaker.
Dude, that is not a compliment.
Next question from Scott. Dobbins, Rip, Waddle, Watson, Ayuk, Deontay Johnson out. Start which desperation play? Barrios, Craycraft, Aguilar, Hollins, MVS. Oh my God. This is so
Okay, these
gross.
are some desperation
Hollins?
plays if I've ever seen them.
Hollins?
I think Barrios is the best option here, though.
What
Right?
about
No
Chark
Waddle.
Chark
Tyreek
with Andy
also.
Dalton?
Yeah, no, I don't give a shit about Andy. Like, I'm not starting a fucking Panthers wide receiver. The one thing I will say is that Pat Surtain, it came out that he's gonna follow Tyreek. So I would say Barrios is probably your best option there, but Hollins would be kind of close to me there. And I mean MVS, if you ever need a desperation play, you could do worse than throwing MVS into your lineup. It's just you get good access to a high scoring offense. The Chiefs could hang 30 to 40 points on the Bears. So I would say it's probably between Barrios, MVS, and Hollins, whichever one you want to go with. But Barrios, if it's full PPR, would probably be my best option.
Yeah. I probably go Barrios or Hollins or MVS too. Like I said,
It's gross.
Oh God. Pick half PPR, 4 half PPR. T. Higgins, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Javonte Williams, and Ramondre Stevenson. Also Ferguson or Pitts, half PPR. So first question, that's what? 3, that's 5 options. So basically we are benching one guy. If we're benching one guy
Williams,
here,
I'm benching.
I was gonna say, do you bench DK because he's dealing with the ribs?
No, I bench Javonte
No?
Williams.
A half PPR?
Yeah.
Half PPR. Let's make the bet right now. DK versus Javonte Williams. Write it down, Spicy. I'm going Javonte over DK.
Yeah, I'll take DK there. That's close though. I mean, you could also make the argument that you might want to go, throw Higgins on the bench if you think Burrow's not going to be active. But I personally, the Eagles are tough against Mike Evans too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a dud in this one.
He's playing too well for me to bench him though.
I think knowing that Javonte hasn't quite done it yet would probably be the reason I would bench him.
I mean, I'd bench DK simply because he's dealing with the ribs.
That's fine, but he's a threat to score a touchdown even on like 70% of the snaps. I don't really care.
I hope you're right because I have him in the listener league. I ended up trading for him this week.
Zach says Flowers, Ford, Kelly, Jacoby Myers need RB2 and a flex. So Kelly is very clearly the RB2 in this question.
Yes.
And then my flex would be between Flowers and Ford. And I think I go Flowers given that Ford has a pretty tough matchup.
Yeah, I would go Flowers as well.
Oh, also, we didn't answer the second part of this, but I would go Pitts over Ferguson there, Aaron.
Yeah, and I'm a Cowboys fan. I agree.
Pitts, Otton, or Ferguson. Everybody knows you're a Cowboys fan, Danny. You don't need to preface it with that. Pitts, Otton, or Ferguson. Is Otton a thing now? I've actually seen a couple people say that like Otton's a thing now. I guess the snap share is okay, but I would go with Pitts there still. Scolioid.
Easy. Yeah.
Ford or Warren, half PPR.
Jerome, baby. Jerome Ford.
It's close in my rankings now, but I'll take Ford as well.
Jerome.
PPR start 3, Pacheco, Kelly, Gus, Dillon, Sky, Tutu, Atwell. So Pacheco and Kelly are locks in my lineup of this group. And then I would probably go Dillon over Gus, just given that it's PPR and Dillon will be more involved as a receiver.
Yeah, I don't even hate these wide receivers either, but I would probably agree with that 3 that you said.
Yeah, Benjamin also said can't do Javonte plus Godwin for Gibbs because I already have Gibbs. That's classic. But you know what I mean? Like maybe consolidate your assets a little bit.
Maybe it costs a little bit more. You can get ETN because he had a bad week last week. Like that would be what I look for.
ETN also, I think he's totally fine too. Like health wise, it sounds like he's going to be just fine.
Amari, that is quite the dilemma to be in. We talk about teams wanting to consolidate.
By the looks of it.
You have 4 wide receivers I have ranked inside my top 13 this week.
Yeah, dude, if I were you, I would take Chris Olave and Puka Nacua and see if you can get to Justin Jefferson or something. Like you might be able to get up to Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill if he has a bad week this week.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's what I would look for too. Now, with that being said, Nacua would be on my bench simply because A, he's the lowest ranked here, and that's my wide receiver 13. I still fucking love him, but he's my lowest ranked. And B, if you needed a tiebreaker, he is playing on Monday Night Football and is dealing with an injury. Yes, he's expected to play, but at the same time, like when you have options like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Olave, and Calvin Ridley, you can afford to put him on your bench in that situation. The final super chat here we have is from Carlos going B-Rob, benched him last week and paid for it. Yeah, I would go with B-Rob as well there, Carlos. Appreciate the super chat, but we have where we left off, and we will try to get to as many as possible now.
One thing I wanted to ask you, because I have a tough start sit decision in my home league here. Would you play Elijah Moore this week? I had Ayuk, so he obviously was out, and I have to start somebody in his place. Would you play Elijah Moore in your flex? Or would you play Robert Woods?
Robert Woods.
You would play Robert Woods over Elijah Moore, eh?
That's what I was going to tell you on the Tank Dell bit. Like Robert Woods is still running more routes.
Yeah, I mean, more, but not more than Elijah Moore.
No,
Like
no, no,
Elijah
no,
Moore is
no.
getting the targets, man. Like he's been
No,
really
no.
solid, and the Titans are a
He's
get right type of matchup.
he
And the for what it's
he's
worth, the Browns played some decently tough pass defenses
I
in the first 2 games.
you don't have to preach to the Elijah Moore choir here. For the record, I have them as my wide receiver 37 with Robert Woods and 38 with Elijah Moore. So you don't have to preach. Like I love Elijah Moore and I do like him this week, but Robert Woods, I already right now trust what I'm seeing from the Texans pass attack more than what I'm seeing from the Browns. And realistically, like both are like solid game environments. Obviously, the Texans are underdogs, but I think they got a legitimate shot to go out there and beat the Jaguars straight up, to be honest. I know they're like a touchdown dog, but the offense looks good. Nico Collins, obviously on the outside, looks like a true number 1 wide receiver. And Robert Woods, I think he's gotten like 19 targets in his first 2 games, man. Like he's been heavily involved on a team that likes to throw the football.
Yeah, I think there's supposed to be some weather stuff going on in Cleveland or in Tennessee, wherever the game is. But I'm going to stick with Elijah Moore. The sports books have Elijah Moore projected for about 10 more yards than Robert Woods and the
Fair.
same amount of receptions. So I think I'll just go with the guy who's a little bit more explosive.
Yeah.
In
I
that
mean, they're back to back
situation.
for
But
me.
yeah, it's a pretty close discussion.
Yep. Okay, you have where we left off, right? Oh, we got a
Yeah.
super chat here. Sorry. I need to choose 2 flexes, but hard choices. Swift, Hall, Jerome Ford, Gabe Davis, Sky, Jordan Reed. I'm assuming that's Jaden Reed, but
Jaden Reed, probably. Yeah.
You probably go with what? Swift, and I would put Ford over Hall, but
I wouldn't. I would go Swift and Hall.
let me see how I have it ranked because these guys are relatively close in my rankings for me as well. I actually would put Ford. I think he's actually the guy I have the highest of this group. So I have Ford at 16 right now because what's his name? Aaron Jones was inactive. I have DeAndre Swift at 19 and Breece Hall at 22.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think I just go with the upside of Swift and Hall. I think they're the best 2 players here as well.
Fair.
Ability
So
wise.
if you need a common denominator, we both would have Swift in here, and the other choice would be between Hall and Ford, whoever you trust more there, James. Appreciate it.
Yep. Sounds good. Okay. I think are we caught up right now?
Yep. We are
Yeah.
all
Apologies for those of you guys leaving free questions. Again, there's a lot of you in here right now. We're trying to get to as many as we possibly can without sounding like we're ripping through our mouths while we talk so fast. But we got Gus Dillon or Algier on the board here. I would take Algier pretty easily here.
Yeah, I would go with Algier as well. Now, I see Steve has a super sticker, but I can't see the comment, so feel free to leave that again, and I'll try to skip through it for you. But yeah, you have where we left off.
Yeah, we do. And it's James asking his usual favorite props question this week. So I'm just going to briefly show these just so we want to get back to the questions here. Do have a boosted one here on Lamar Jackson. So if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy and you don't know how these pick'ems work, basically you just get the higher on the half total yards. Some of the ones that I like this week, I do really like, let me go down to the game that I was just talking about, the Broncos game. Here we go. Javonte Williams, I kind of like his ability to probably put some work together, so I'll take the higher on his total yardage. And then let me find the Dolphins game here, or the Dolphins lines here. I like Raheem Mostert to find the end zone today, so I'll put him in there as well. And then let's go, where do we like this? Vikings game is gold, so let's find this one here. Let's take Justin Herbert to go higher on the passing yards. Think he can go over 284. And then again, of course, if you guys want to check out Underdog Fantasy, put $10 on here for 4 correct. That pays out $100, and you get one of them for free, basically, with Lamar Jackson there. So that's some of my favorite props today. There's a number of other ones that I like as well, but those are just some of them. And of course, when you sign up on Underdog, you'll get 100% back up to $500 for a limited time right now. They've extended how much you can get 100% back up to with our promo code. So if you guys really want to start throwing some smoke down on some of these pick'ems, now would be the time to sign up for sure. And then you'll get our weekly rankings and our rest of season rankings for free when you do that. So definitely check that out. The link will be down below in the description.
And speaking of Underdog Fantasy, let's try to do this as quick as possible. Yes. We go through our Underdog picks of the week. And I'll start it off with mine. My Underdog of the week is the Atlanta Falcons going on the road to play the Detroit Lions. I had their money line straight up. They're currently 3-point underdogs to the Lions. I think they're very comparable teams. I do think in this type of matchup, with the Falcons run game, with the scheme that they have, that offensive line advantage, that they're going to be able to control possession, control the clock. We're going to see a lot of Bijan Robinson. We're going to see a lot of Tyler Algier. You mentioned how advantageous the Atlanta Falcons run game is comparatively to what the Detroit Lions run defense is for this week. So I think this is just the type of game that maybe they win on like a walk-off field goal. It's like similar to last week where they beat the Packers 25-24. I foresee that type of game environment with the Falcons coming home with the W.
Yeah, no, I like that pick for sure. I also I have a touchdown dog. So the way this contest works is typically, I mean, most of the time we're gonna pick underdog picks that are like 3-point underdogs or 2-point underdogs or whatever. I'm picking the Texans to win straight up over the Jaguars. They are
I don't mind
7.5 point dogs. The line has since moved from 10 when it opened to 7.5 because the Houston Texans notoriously have played the Jacksonville Jaguars really close and really tight. And I think that CJ Stroud is playing well enough that they'll be able to compete in this game. And Trevor Lawrence has kind of been a little up and down so far to this point in his career, and he's had a couple stinkers against some bad teams. So if I get this is actually worth 2 points, basically, is the way that we have. If somebody's a touchdown dog and you predict them to outright win, you should probably get 2 points for that. So I'm going for an onion hanger here to try and get up on this contest and go for the Texans to win the game straight.
I mean, right now, the underdog picks of the week for me have literally been like the only one I've done bad on. 1-1 in my locks of the week. I believe the only lock I missed was the Cowboys Jets game last week. I predicted under 38.5. It went over by 1.5 points. The other ones, though, my going nuts, 2 for 2 so far, 5 points there. Shout out Deebo Samuel last week. The other one, safe play of the week. Just so happened that in week 1, my safe play was Aaron Jones, who was the RB1 overall. And last week, it was James Conner with the most James Conner stat lines.
Yeah. You know what? Screw it. Let's give it our safe plays real quick. Josh Kelly, he's in your lineup. Safe over under, high workload, 75% of the snaps last week without Austin Eckler. Who's your safe play of the week here presented by Aura?
My safe play of the week presented by Aura is actually going to be Tyler Lockett of the Seattle Seahawks going to play the Carolina Panthers at home. I just mentioned why I'm a little bit concerned with DK with the rib injury that he suffered. Tyler Lockett, the vet wide receiver there, if DK's banged up at all, should have in store, 9-10 targets, a classic Tyler Lockett 7 for 85, and maybe squeaks into a touchdown level stat line.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, so we are through all of our superlatives. Now we can just absolutely fire through these comments. So we got Darkness here, Taysom Hill, Kyle Pitts, full PPR. I actually don't hate the Taysom Hill call because I think with Jamal Williams out and Kendra as the lead back, they'll probably use him a little bit more, but I would still go with Kyle Pitts as well.
It's Kyle Pitts. Yep. Agreed. Who can I trade for? Richardson, Robert.
Who can Richardson? I think he's just asking like, who can I trade for with these players? So I'm guessing that's Anthony
Robert,
Richardson, Robert Woods.
Oh, Allen, Mike, Thomas, Curtis, Bourne, Sky, and Joku. I mean,
Javon, ask us this question on like Twitter or Discord while we have more time to answer it, because this is a complex question at this point.
Yeah, it's tough for us right now.
But I would say, generally speaking, you want to, maybe package 2 guys coming off of good weeks for maybe one better option coming off a bad week. So if Robert Woods and Michael Thomas have a good game this week, then maybe go after like Drake London if he has a down week or something like that.
I like that. I like that call. Maybe even Christian Watson because he's expected to miss this week. He'll be back next week. You can buy low on him. Full PPR, London or Pacheco. I would go with London in a full PPR. But
and full PPR, you got to go with the receiver, I think.
If I could guarantee that Pacheco would get 60% of the snaps against Chicago, I would say Pacheco. But the fact that the split's been kind of so wonky to begin with, like I'm a little bit concerned there. Trade Rashad for Rashad or Brees for Devontae Smith. Trade Rashad for Devontae Smith yesterday, please. If you can get Devontae Smith for Rashad White right now, do it before kickoff. But we are all caught up on supers. Let's rapid fire as many as possible. Also, for those asking at like 12:40 right now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. We are not going to be able to get to those questions. So if you have some questions, especially if they pertain to 4 p.m., 8:30 p.m. or Monday Night Football, DM us on Twitter or on Discord, and we'll be able to get to your questions then. But right now, like it's going to be impossible.
Yep, for sure. So, Jared, all the way back at 11:40 a.m. With Christian Watson's injury, do I play Pitts or Jaden Reed in the flex? I would go with Pitts, to be honest, over Jaden Reed. But I think that's Jaden Reed's a fine play as well this week. I don't love the game environment of the Packers and Saints game there. Hector says, good morning, half PPR flex spot, Edwards or Godwin. I would go with Godwin there, Hector.
Yep.
AJ Dillon or Darnell Mooney, full PPR. Aaron Jones is out. Dillon. I would probably go Dillon there, Brock.
Yep. I agree.
Myers, Elijah Moore, Jacoby Myers, two Jacoby Myers in here. Sorry. Jacoby Myers, Elijah Moore, or Josh Kelly. I would go with Josh Kelly there, Ethan. Goff or Deshaun. You got a lenience here? This is pretty close for me in my rankings. Goff. I think I'd probably go with Watson, though.
Goff.
Really? You go Goff over Watson? Let me actually see.
I have Goff at quarterback 11.
Yeah, you're probably right. Oh, he's playing Atlanta. Shit, I'm trolling. Never mind. Yeah, give me Goff. They both have really good matchups, though. They're both pretty solid plays this week.
Yep, I agree there.
Elijah Moore, JSN. I think he actually ended up supering this. Maybe not.
Elijah.
I would go with Elijah Moore regardless. Sup, my
Yeah,
guys. What's going on? Rolando, Flex, Khalil Herbert, Adam Thielen, Aaron,
the boy.
AJ Dillon. If no
AJ
Jones,
Dillon.
Jones is not playing, so I would go with AJ Dillon.
Yep, agree with you there.
Moore or Tank Dell. I would go with.
Moore.
I'd go with Elijah Moore, even
Give
though
me
I don't
more,
love
baby.
the matchup there. And also, yeah, Rolando, don't forget to leave a like. If we did get to your question, definitely appreciate you guys leaving a like and subscribing if you guys are new around here.
Real quick. This is actually what I'm going to ask you. I currently have Devontae Parker in right now, but with the news that it's expected bad weather in the listener league, do you go with Kadarius Toney or Antonio Gibson over him?
Who is the first option? Sorry,
Kadarius Toney. Would you go Kadarius Toney over Devontae Parker, knowing the weather's going to be messed up?
Yeah, I would.
I think I would too. By the way, shout out Aaron Jones and Brandon Ayuk leaving me in that decision, but
classic.
Yeah.
So pick one full PPR: Swift, Hall, or Moss. I'm gonna go with Swift as my highest rated. Swift and Hall are kind of close for me, but I think in full PPR I go with Swift.
I have Swift highest
Justin
as well.
says DJ Moore, Tyler Algier, Chris Godwin, Zach Moss start one in the flex full PPR. For me, I think I have Godwin the highest, but DJ Moore and Algier are both pretty close to him, so I would go Godwin here. Yeah. I don't know where you're at with that one.
I would go Godwin.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to hammer out some while I set my lineups real quick. If you want to just answer the questions, I'm literally just going to click them.
If you do that for me afterwards too, we're all set because I have them set, but I just want to make sure I didn't fuck up anywhere. Now, where do we leave off is the question.
I got it for you. It's 11:42 a.m. If you want to look for it, it's Cade's the last question that we have. If you got it.
Roshan or Kendra Miller, I would go with Kendra there. Hey guys, half PPR. Oh, you already asked. Okay, yeah, that was a super chat. I got asked as wide receiver 2. Should I start Mostert or DJ Moore and Zay Flowers, and who you think has higher upside, quarterback Baker or Watson? So for the first one, Mostert versus DJ Moore and Zay Flowers, give me Raheem Mostert. And second of all, I still would go with Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield. Pick 2, Tutu Atwell, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Lockett, Gabe Davis, Robert Woods, also Geno Smith or Justin Fields. So for the second one, I'll just go Justin Fields over Geno Smith. Personally, it's still a high over-under in that game. Yeah, they're big underdogs, but this is going to be a nice passing script for Chicago. And if there's going to be a week to get right and have to score points, it's going to be against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I would go with Justin Fields there as a fringe top 10 option. If you have to pick 2 of these wide receivers, I believe I would go with Tyler Lockett and Robert Woods is who I'd have the highest there, Mitchell. Need 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Start Addison, Kirk, Nico, bench, DJ Moore, London, Algier. Agree. I have it set that way as well. Yeah. Addison, Kirk, and Nico would be my 3 highest rated players there, Casey. Hey, boys, PPR start 2 wide receivers. Godwin, Addison, Dotson, MT, Elijah Moore, Josh Reynolds. Start 2 flexes, Javonte. So the 2 wide receivers for me, the highest rated would be Godwin and Addison. And the 2 highest rated flexes out of that crew would be Javonte Williams and Josh Kelly for me. Good morning, half PPR, Gus, Godwin, or Madison, pick 2. You're sitting Gus Bus there, Hector. Flex play, Addison, Javonte, PPR, thanks. I would go with, that's close. Javonte or Addison for you, Bush?
I would go probably Addison in PPR.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'd probably lean Javonte slightly, but
right,
that is really close.
I can cover you now if you want to set your
We're at Michael.
Okay, yeah, I got it. PPR, pick 1, London or Garrett Wilson. Also have Jordan Love or Deshaun Watson at quarterback. So for me, I have Garrett Wilson still higher. If you're really nervous about the weather, you could go London, but I think I would still go with Wilson personally. And then also Jordan Love or Deshaun Watson at quarterback. I'd go with Deshaun Watson there, Michael.
Hey, the thing I'll ask you, this is actually a lineup in my home league. So right now, the rest of the team. So I have Burrow. I mentioned on the Flock Fantasy live stream that I picked up Matthew Stafford in case Burrow doesn't go. Told you that yesterday, right?
Yep.
So the rest of my team, I have Burrow, Javonte Williams, Tyler Algier as my running backs, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Jordan Addison, 3 wide receivers, George Kittle at tight end who already played. Then I currently have Garrett Wilson and Kyle Pitts in my flexes. Now the question mark, I think I know where you're going to lean here, but would you go with Kyle Pitts or would you go with Elijah Moore?
I'd probably go with Kyle Pitts, to be honest.
That's how I have it right now. And for the record, yes, I'm double tight ending George Kittle and Kyle Pitts because Kyle Pitts was dropped and I was able to secure him on waivers. So it's going to look janky for at least a week, but hopefully I can sell high on one of them if one of them has a big week.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, dude, I didn't realize we had Waddle on this FFPC team too, and he's out
Yeah,
for this
bro.
game. It's not ideal for us.
Nope.
But we do have Kendre, who's fine in our lineup this week.
Have Cooper and Walker drop Elijah Moore for Charbonnet. Do not drop Elijah Moore personally.
Yeah, Charbonnet's not like it's Charbonnet's a great stash, but realistically, he's irrelevant until Kenneth Walker goes down. Probably. Right?
Based off usage right now, I agree. Did you look at the FFPC lineup, by the way?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So right now we have Russ Wilson as our quarterback. I'll concede if you guys want to play Russ and play it safe.
I don't care.
We're 0-2.
We're
0-2 right now. That's the only reason I say it.
Okay. Yeah, because Ron messaged the chat.
I know. I said I would bang the table for Burrow, but I mean, realistically, if Burrow plays, then Higgins and Chase are going to see an uptick. So we already have kind of exposure to that. We're kind of just like, betting safe here right now by playing Russell Wilson over him. And I also just love the game environment for Russ there too. So it's a pretty good bet to make. But Mostert and Swift are our top running backs. Kendre, Elijah Moore are our flexes. And then we have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts as our wide receivers and tight ends. And then Evan McPherson's our kicker, and New England DST probably will cook this week against Zach Wilson, which is nice.
I agree. All right. So we're
no JT, no Burrow, and Jalen Waddle definitely is hurting us right now.
Yeah, we need them back.
We're gonna need to just get to 2-2 if possible, and then run the table.
Yeah, no, literally, that's actually what we got to do. It's what we got to do. So let's rapid fire these.
Yeah. So
we got one more here. Sorry.
Okay.
DST: Jags, Ravens, Packers, Bucks, Raiders, Titans, Lions. Do you have any preference here?
Probably Ravens. They're the best overall defense, and they have Gardner Minshew.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, I like that too.
Okay, Chris says, "Sup, boys? Saw the RB rankings video," and Corey says Javonte over Pacheco, but I keep going back and forth. Pacheco is a dope match. I mean, I personally would still go Javonte because they're both in really good spots. The Dolphins are equally as bad against the run as the Bears are, and Javonte Williams has a much better workload than Pacheco at this point in time.
Yep, I dig that.
Pick one: Kendre Miller, Algier, AJ Dillon, or Hunt. So he's already starting Ford, is what he says here. I have Algier the highest, so I would go with Algier here. I can't pronounce your name, but I'm going Algier there.
Sure, yeah, you got it for now. I'm just gonna answer the question, or I'm gonna go through.
Yeah, set your lineups. You're good. Flex Kendre Miller, Khalil Herbert, or Barrios. I have Waddle, Ayuk, and Eckler. Yikes, dude, that sucks. I would go with Kendre Miller there, Michael. One for Flex: Gabe Davis, Judy, or Scary Terry. I would go with Judy. DFS question: save the money and take Ford to get up to Kelsey, or take James Cook and Laporta. So, I mean, I'm not familiar with what's chalk this week and that kind of thing. I would imagine Jerome Ford will be highly played. So I'd probably go James Cook and Laporta, to be honest. But Kelsey, I am playing against him in my home league, and I'm probably going to get rinsed by him. So my gut would tell me that Kelsey probably lights it up this week.
Probably. Anytime I play against somebody, I already know they're going to go up. Like, for example, my home league last week, Puka Nacua, Brian Robinson, 3 separate players just decide to drop 25 plus points on me. And it's
especially when it's a player that I'm genuinely against in pre-draft season, like Kelsey, who I was like, oh, I don't know if I can spend that high of a pick on a tight end. He's guaranteed to go off against me when I play against him. Full PPR, Alex says, need a wide receiver 2 and a flex: London, McLaurin, Flowers, Javonte Williams, and Kelly. So wide receiver 2 for me there is London. I have him the highest. And then the flex,
I have Flowers higher.
You have Flowers higher than London?
Yeah.
You wanna go head to head on that one?
Full PPR.
Full PPR.
Let's do it. It's so funny because they're both more PPR-ish type of wide receivers, anyways.
They're one spot behind. I have London at 27 and Flowers at 28. They're literally one spot separated in my rankings, but I would go with London. Just given
I would go with Flowers, and keep in mind too, they are literally separated by 3 rankings in my rankings. I have Zay Flowers at 27, and where's Drake London? Drake London's at 31. So yeah.
Yep. All right. So Josh says Mike Williams or Garrett Wilson for the start. I'd go Williams given the game environment there with Garrett Wilson. It's not going to be a high scoring game probably, and the rain and all that kind of stuff. So I'd go with Mike Williams there.
Yeah,
Josh.
Mike will.
Jared, what's going on? Haven't seen you in a while. Hit the like, boys. Hit the like. Indeed, if we've answered your question, least you could do is hit the like and hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. James Conner or Darnell Mooney, full PPR. I think I go Mooney, given the game environment and the fact that it's full PPR. Connor's probably the safer start. I just don't trust him against the Cowboys this week, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Tyler says better chance to get 10 points is Connor. Better chance to boom is Mooney there. So, Dylan says, PPR league, do I flex Metcalf, Hall, or Pacheco? Starting running backs are Henry and Williams. Starting wide receivers are Brown and Ridley. So for me, I would be still comfortable starting Metcalf over the running backs, but
Yes.
Hall would be the running back if I go with a running back there. I think
Agreed.
Metcalf is the cleanest projection of those guys, though.
Yep, I agree. Super chat here from Andrew. He says Pitts or Kincaid PPR league. I would go with Kyle Pitts there, Andrew.
Yeah, I would go with Pitts there as well.
Yep.
And Daddy's speaking Toronto man's here. You going lads Wagwan. I actually think that's like
Wagwan,
Caribbean
baby,
talk,
Wagwan.
but my buddy's from Trinidad and he
Yeah.
usually says Wagwan,
Well,
so I'm pretty sure it's more Caribbean stuff.
Well, the reason why it's slang in Toronto is like when the what's it called, when the Trinidadians, the Jamaicans, when they all came to Toronto, came to Ontario, like that's how Toronto slang basically came to be. Because now, like every time you go to Toronto, again, like it's the same thing even in UK. Like UK slang and Toronto slang are relatively similar, and they derive actually from Trinidad, from Jamaica.
True. I need an RB and a flex. Jalen Warren, Kendra Miller, Damian Pierce, Zay Flowers, Gabe Davis. Much love, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. RB is Jalen Warren, probably. I mean, Damian Pierce is probably the better bet for a workload, but Jalen Warren on 14 touches might be better than Kendra and Damian Pierce on 20, realistically.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you're going Jalen Warren and Zay Flowers.
Yeah, that would be where I go as well.
Okay. So let's keep speeding.
Yes, definitely appreciate Spicy Hot doing the Lords here for us. Infrared says start 2, full PPR, 1 flex, Gus Edwards, Breece Hall, DJ Moore, Drake London. So the running back is Breece Hall for me, and then the flex would be
London or DJ Moore's
Drake
close.
London probably. I'm scared of the Bears, man. I'm scared of them.
JT put you in
JT O'Sullivan just fucking made me nervous.
Same. So when I told you, I'm like, yo, have you seen the Bears analysis? You said no, and then you ended up watching it afterwards.
I did. I wanted to see it because I like JT has forgotten more about quarterback play than I'll ever fucking know. So I like learning, because I think listening to guys like him really helps you in the draft cycle too, right? Because when you're watching college tape of these players,
you know what to look for.
You learn a lot of these concepts and where the reads are supposed to be and that kind of thing. And like, our experience playing Madden and like playing football at the low levels or whatever, like it doesn't come close to like what JT knows about concepts and stuff that works in the NFL.
100%. And I saw when he was breaking it down, something that I've noticed like real off the bat is you start to understand like quarterback tendencies, what a quarterback really, really thrives in, and how their coaches are able to like put them in the position to succeed, which is like, now I understand a lot more of like the talk about like a guy like Brock Purdy, where he's really good at processing, getting the ball out on time, understanding his receivers are going to be, and trusting that his wide receivers are going to be where they are. Those are the strengths. And like we've talked about in the past where some quarterbacks can create on their own, and some quarterbacks are so good with the script, understanding exactly the timing of certain situations, that they thrive depending on the system. So with a guy like Brock Purdy, he's so good with San Francisco because Kyle Shanahan basically teaches quarterback, this is exactly what I want you to do in any play. I don't want you to, overthink it. I don't want you to, go scramble out like fucking Justin Fields. I just need you to sit in the pocket, deliver the ball on time. And Brock Purdy, for what it's worth, has exacted that system, which is why the offense has worked so well in San Francisco. And JT was the one who really opened my eyes. Like, oh my God, like he's literally just at times blindly throwing it, knowing that the wide receivers are just going to be there.
Yeah, and I think the crazy thing about like quarterback play too is like in fantasy, we get excited about Justin Fields and Trey Lance types, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, coaches much prefer Brock Purdy types to those type of quarterbacks. Obviously, you get a special quarterback when you can do both, but the starting we undervalue sometimes how long a guy can hold a starting job, and a guy like Brock Purdy should be a starter for his whole career. If it's not in San Francisco, let's say he's a down season or whatever, he'll get a chance somewhere else. Just give him what he can do.
Yeah, 100%. So our apologies, a little tangent. It is 1 p.m. though. So.
Oh, is it 1 p.m.? Okay, so appreciate you guys for tuning in. I mean, we didn't even get to 12 p.m. So love all the support. Love the fact that you guys are asking us all these questions. We did our best to answer as many as we could without them just being direct super chat questions. Again, if you want full in-depth answers, the easiest way without doing super chats and stuff like that is to tune in to our Flock Fantasy live streams. We have like 10 to 15 people in there. Like we answer their questions in depth, and we go on like, stuff. We went for an hour and a half yesterday. So if you guys want to make sure you get your questions answered, it is far more valuable to sign up on flockfantasy.com using the promo code FSE for, $13 a month or whatever, than it is to pay $5 every time you want a question answered. here, and it actually supports us more as well because YouTube takes a nice decent cut of our super chats. So if you're interested in that and you wanted to get in the page or the flock only live streams as well as get our rankings and get our rest of season rankings, definitely check out the site. That will be linked down below in the description of this video. Good luck to everybody. We wish everybody health to their fantasy teams and W's this week.
Real question too. Again, like I said earlier in the stream, if you guys still have questions that pertain to the 4 p.m. window, the 8 p.m. window, Monday Night Football, 2 games on Monday night, DM either of us on Twitter, on Discord. Send it to us. Like, we're on our phones. We're fucking degenerates. We're checking every single completion to see if it has relevance to our fantasy players. We will be online. So if you guys want to access us, just reach out. My Twitter, DannyFootball59. Corey's Twitter, Football Stock. If you want in-depth, analysis there, just send us a DM.
Yeah, there we go. Twitters are on the screen there if you guys want to see them, or they're not showing up for me. There we go.
They are showing up.
Now they are on the screen. So again, enjoy the games. Good luck to everybody's teams. Good luck to everybody's injury-wise, and hopefully you guys bank some big bets or some DFS lineups if you're doing that as well. So peace out. Talk to you soon.